That'd be a lot.
Answer to this one is 8. Answer is 33. This is until the bell goes off. Answer to this one is -1. Answer to this one is 5. You have to move the +2 to the right side. If you move it to the right side, you change the operation, and it becomes -2. So that's a 36 on the right. Divide by 6, and you get 6. This becomes +3 on the right side. So 15 plus 3 is 18. And divide 18 by -2 to get -9. Block letter only. Find the x-intercept. If you're looking for the x-intercept, if you want the x-intercept, then eliminate the y term, because you're putting a 0 in for it. So you're left with 3x equals 12. Divide by 3 to get 4, and you must use a block letter, D. Today's Common Core objective. Today is all about creating the equation, and we may get to the graph in the second half of the class. Here's example 1. A monthly cell bill is calculated by the following charges. Each customer will pay a flat fee of $40 per month, plus 50 cents per minute for each minute over 300 minutes. Create an equation. There should be no D there. Create an equation that represents this billing cycle and graph it using your own scale. Before we graph and change scales on the graph, you have to first be able to make the equation. So, if we're going to have to graph this, what form should the equation be in? Standard is AX plus BY equals C. Do we have to change that to graph it?
Yeah.
Yes, so what form should it be in?
MX.
Yes, that's right. Y equals MX plus B. Okay, so there's your equation form. Now we have to start plugging in stuff to the equation. You have to I'm wanting to say play. I can't spit it out. You will pay, there it is, a flat fee of $40 per month. So no matter what you use, your bill is at least $40. Where do you think that $40 would go in the equation? M is the slope. You would go up so many and then over to the right. It would be B. That's right. So we'll add that in there. Y equals MX plus 40. So that no matter what you use for minutes, your bill is a minimum of $40. Now, 50 cents per minute. Let me ask you a question. If it's 50 cents per minute for each minute over 300, what if I used 500 minutes? How many minutes did I go over? 200. And how much would I owe for that minute usage? If I went 200 over and it's 50 cents per minute, then what would I be paying? $100. What if I used 400 minutes? How far over did I go? 100. And what's 100 times 50 cents? $50, right. So the amount of minutes that you use in 1 month, like 400, 500, 600, that can change. So what do we use to represent something that can be anything? X is right. So if we let X equal the number of minutes that we use, then where would the 50 cents go? M. All right, so let's fill this in. 0.50 x plus 40. Now, anytime you create an equation, you must go back and check it to see if it makes sense. Remember the example I just gave you. You use 400 minutes. If I use 400 minutes, how far over did I go? 100. And how much money did we end up paying? $50. And if you add on the $40 fee, how much is your bill? $90. All right. So do this. Plug that 400 minutes into X and multiply that 400 by 0.5 and then add 40, and what do you get back? $400 times 0.5 plus 40. What do you get? How much? 240. 240. Now, is that the same thing as 90? No. So is our equation right? What's wrong with the equation? X is the problem, because what should you be multiplying by 50 cents?
400.
We just did that.
200.
100.
We should be multiplying 50 cents by 100 minutes. That's right. So if we have 400 minutes, we're only supposed to get 100 out of it, because you've gone over 300 by 100. So how do we get the minutes that we've gone over?
Subtract 400 by 300.
Yeah, you take 300 away from 400, but how can we let this be represented in the equation here in this spot? X represents the number of what? Minutes. And what do I need to take away from the amount of minutes that I use?
How many went over?
Close. If I use 500 minutes, what am I taking away from it to find out what I went over?
300.
300. So what should be in that equation in the parentheses instead of just X?
X minus 300.
That's it. X minus 300. So we go back and we edit this and include this. Y equals 0.50, 50 cents, times the quantity of X minus 300, and then plus 40. Alright, so do the thing that we just did up here. Here's the one that we used to test. Plug in 400 for X. So what's 400 minus 300? 100. What's 100 times 0.50? 100 times 0.50. It's $50, and plus 40 is, there's your equation. It works out. So you must have an equation like this. So now we've added one level to what we've done before, and that is you are not limited to just X in this spot. You can have X minus 300 to make it work out. But there is one more thing you have to do. Can you graph that equation the way it's written right now?
No, you cannot.
You cannot, because it must be in this form. Y equals mx plus b. So we need just a number at the end, a number beside the x, and the x itself. So here is how you do that. That 50 is up against the parentheses. What operation, add, subtract, multiply, divide, is right here? Multiply. So you're going to distribute that 0.50 to each item inside the parentheses. What's 0.50 times x? 0.50x, right. What's 0.50 times minus 300? What kind of 150? Negative 150, so we'll make it minus 150. And of course your 40 tagged along right there. Can I graph this equation now in the form that it's in? No, we can't do it because we have what extra? Yeah, we have a minus 150 and a 40 at the end. What can I do? That's right. You can add 40 to negative 150. And what do you get?
110. Negative 110.
Negative 110. That is right. All right, example 2. A monthly cell bill is calculated by the following charges. Each customer will pay a flat fee of $50 per month plus 35 cents per minute for each minute over 400 minutes. Create an equation that represents this billing cycle and graph it using your own scale. We're only going to concentrate on the equation right now. What form does the equation have to be in? That's right, y equals mx plus b. Okay, so each customer pays a flat fee of $50 so that no matter what calculations take place for your minutes, that bill will never be less than $50. Never less than 50. So if that's the case, if we're always going to add 50 onto the bill in addition to the minutes, where does the 50 go? Yeah.
How do you get the y equals mx?
Well, the y equals mx plus b is the slope-intercept form of the equation of a line, and that's what you need in order to graph it on a graph. Because if you have this number, that's your y-intercept, and if you have this number here, that's your slope, where you go up and over so many. And if you put it in this form, then you can easily graph it. So that's why we start with this. Alright, so we just agreed that the 50 goes where? B, right. So we'll go y equals mx plus 50, yes. Alright, so now the m and the x are going to be for our minutes, our minute calculations. It's 35 cents per minute for each minute over 400. M is going to be 35 cents. Now don't make the mistake of putting 35 in the equation, because it's not 35. It's 0.35, right. So y equals 0.35 x plus 50. But now, as we discovered in the last example, we cannot keep this, because if we multiply 0.35 by the amount of minutes we used in 1 month, it's not going to work out. What do we have to do to the amount of minutes that we used in a month in order to find out how many went over 400 minutes in this problem? X minus 400 is right. So y equals 0.35 times the amount of minutes that we're going to be charged for. And the amount of minutes we're charged for is whatever you use, which is x, minus 400, because we only need the difference. So if you use 700 minutes, you're going to take away 400 and you're left with 300, and you multiply that by 35 cents and then add 50. What we did so far is we discovered we have to pay a minimum of 50. So no matter what we do with our minutes, we have to pay $50. So that's why we put plus 50. You're charged 35 cents per minute for each minute over 400. So here's 35 cents times the number of minutes we use plus 50. But as we worked out in the last example, this isn't going to give us an accurate price, because if x equals the number of minutes you use in a month, that's not the same as the number of minutes you used over 400. So we subtracted 400 from x and we put it in parentheses. From this point, we have to make this into a form that is graphable. So what do I do to this equation to get it into a true slope-intercept form? What's my first step? Yeah, 0.35 times x, that's just 0.35x. And then we do 0.35 times minus 400. What is that?
Negative 140. Negative 200.
Oh, two different answers.
It's negative 140. It's not 0.50 anymore though.
Yeah.
What did you say to do after you got 0.3?
You have to multiply this by this. So 0.35 times negative 400 is
Negative 140.
negative 140, yes. Now what do I do to come up with just one number at the end of it?
Add 50 to negative 140.
Right, add 50 to negative 140. All right. Minus 90 is right, yes. Here's a speed problem. This goes to the first 6. The first 6. So in this problem, you would have 3 times 2x, which is 6x, and 3 times 4 is 12. So 6x plus 12 is the answer. This one goes to the first 10. What is negative 2 times 3x?
Negative 6x.
What is negative 2 times negative 4?
Positive 8.
Positive 8. Yes. All right, here's a practice problem, so you can try the word problem. Create the equation in simplest form like we did on the first 2. A monthly cell bill is calculated by the following charges. Each customer will pay a flat fee of $60 per month plus 20 cents per minute for each minute over 600. We have to create the equation and cross out the D there, so we just have and. All right, so you need to put it in this form. Y equals mx plus b. You're paying $60 no matter what. So you're going to be adding $60 to whatever calculations you come up with for the minutes. You're paying 20 cents per minute over 600. So at first you may want to do this, but you have to realize that will not give you the right amount. You must do what to the x? Not multiply it. Minus what? 600, yes. But then from there, you must distribute the 0.2. So 0.2 times x is 0.20x, and then 0.2 times the minus 600 is going to be minus 120. But at the end, you must simplify this to get 0.20x minus 60. This one should be 3. Answer to this one is 4. All right, this one goes to the first 6 people. Now don't forget what you have to do with your 4. You have to multiply it by the negative 3x. So it's a negative 12x. And then minus 8. Create the equation for this. Make sure you express it in simplest form. You have to start with y equals mx plus b. What goes in the b spot? Yeah, 50. So we have to have a 50 over here because that's the minimum amount. And now 10 cents per minute. Can you tell me what is wrong with this equation I just wrote? Yeah. We can't have just x there. We got to have what?
X minus 400.
Yes, x minus 400. And then what do we have to do with that set of parentheses?
0.10 cents times x plus 10x.
Yeah, 0.10 times x is 0.10x, and then what?
0.10 times 400.
Yeah, 0.10 times 400 is
Negative
40, so we'll put in minus 40 since this sign was there. What is negative 40 plus 50?
10.
Positive 10, so this is your answer. The answer for this one should be positive 1. The work for this problem is that you have to move the minus 2 to the right and make it plus 2. So you end up with a 5 on this side, but you have a negative number there. So you have to divide 5 by negative 1 to get a negative 5.